All done. Nothing is never done.
We're finally back to framing, which I'm really happy about. We're gonna be finishing out these open gable ends here. We have one over the loft and then we have one for the living room. We're gonna be cutting out these studs. We're gonna be doing it individually. Hopefully this time next week, we are completely dried in and ready to go for interior.
Did you think anything else was gonna happen?
It's fun to see that step and like forward and that step in progress.
We're supposed to be building the house, right? All right, so we've got to get our top plate up here. 612 pitch roof comes out to about 26.5 degrees. Let's go ahead and set our saw. Just tilting the table here to 26.5 inches and like there.
So we grabbed a piece of scrap and we wanted to test the angle. And like, ironically enough, we don't have a top plate in here yet, but it was kind of funny. It actually fits pretty darn well if I had it turned in the right direction.
We're measuring our top plates here. We're measuring to a point, and sometimes that can be tricky. So an easy tip is, a lot of you guys probably know this, easy tip is just grab a board that you know what its length is. It's 14 inches here. Mark where this board ends up here. You know, we already did right here. And then when you go to take your measurement, you can pull to that and then just add your 14 inches. This cut needs to go like that.
So we're about to lay out the window. We have the studs already good and done. And then we're gonna do the window. It's a 36 by 20. So we're gonna lay out the kings, the jacks, and find center, make sure everything's all good to go. And then we're gonna frame it all up.
So we've got our saw set at 45 degrees now because everything on this 12-12 pitch is going to be either an inside 45 or an outside 45, which are both 45.
We're doing the 12-12 side now. And so John is giving me the measurements and then I'm cutting them down the ground and then handing it up to him. We studded out the gable walls, so now we're ready for plywood. And we're gonna be cutting our sheathing and sticking it up there so we can finish out and fully dry in this place. And it's gonna be on to house wrap and then siding.
We're putting our sheathing on this gable wall. We just framed it out, as Rachel said. Just hindsight, 2020. It would have been better to frame this up as soon as possible because, you know, we're gonna only have a little bit of Tyvek overlap. You know, they call for 6 inches. We'll probably get like 2 or 3, but we'll use the appropriate Z channel, the Z flashing around these siding pieces here. We've got our 2-foot overhangs, and you know, when we're properly flashed, water shouldn't even touch the Tyvek to begin with. So we'll see.
Hold on, I need... Okay.
Good enough. Come down. Left, come up a little.
It looks good to me.
Beautiful.
So I'm gonna be inside on the scaffolding while John is lifting up the plywood for the final corner. There was nowhere for me to hold it, so we put in these 2 deck screws about halfway in. So as John's lifting it, I can grab through the studs and then I'm able to hold pressure and hold it back from the inside on top of the scaffolding.
Right hand up. You know what's really funny? When you go up there and the Tyvek wraps around your head and you can't see the ground anymore, you stop being afraid of heights. It's like a cozy, warm hug. I'll just do this and make myself look a little better. You know what I'm saying? I gotta look good. Got a lot of fans out there, east to west. We just got done the east side, which would be our 12-12 side. We've got our plywood cut out for this one. Thankfully, it's only actually 2 sheets. We have one job. Stick this up there. I'm gonna see if I can't make my life a little easier and cut the window hole out down here so that way I'm not up there with a router. So we're gonna give it a try. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't, oops. 3-0, 1/8 window. In normal people terms, that'd be 3 foot wide, 20 inches tall. So we'll go 18 inches here, 18 inches on that one, and 20 wide on both. And I'm just gonna trace out these lines and cut them. Because we already have a house wrap here, and I don't feel like pulling a tape measure out, I'm just gonna mark about where my studs are. Something to get me started here. And that one I can obviously see with the window hole. Cool. Grab it through the window hole for a second and just stay there. That should be fine. It's time. Last window. So just like the other windows, we're doing some sealant on the top and both sides. Something somebody pointed out last time, our flashing tape application wasn't exactly perfect. We took extra care this time. We'll fold the Tyvek up and out of the way, install the window, fold the Tyvek over the flashing tape that eventually goes on the window. And that should do us just fine. Hello. Just go for it, go for it.
Hey.
Checked for operation. All right, how does level look?
It needs to go like this.
Yeah, go ahead. Come down on the right.
Yeah, that's level. Perfect.
This almost feels like a drive-through window.
A little bit.
Like, hi, can I get 2 24-inch flashing tapes and 1 more at 44 inches, please? Thank you.
Bonk.
I'm looking for the end of this Z flashing to be in the middle of our building. I'll get you close and then you just tell me when I'm where I need to be. Deal?
Okay. Deal.
Good?
That seems about right, yeah.
I cut the Z flashing to 8 feet exact. This one I'll go 8 foot 6 inches or so. So we'll have adequate coverage going there and we'll sneak it underneath and I'll get a nail going through both. Siding piece, go 50 inches and then we'll start our angle cut going up to the top of the gable. Here's our deal. We know that we have a 612 pitched roof, which means that from here on a 4-foot panel, I'm only increasing this 2 feet. Our panel will start 50 inches before it starts to take on that roof line. That roof line will then go all the way.
Oh.
That's it.
Good morning. So we have our 2 sheets up, so we're halfway there, the top gable end, and we needed to mirror this sheet of siding. We retook some measurements as well and made our cuts, and we have all of our numbers written down, and then we have our chalk line here. We're about to cut this. We're gonna put this baby up and we're almost done.
I'd love it if you could be able to lift it up. All right, let's come down. Now that's fine, all I need is the inward pressure.
That looks good.
Right?
Yep.
So we got to do our dormer flashing here. So getting on and off the roof has been easy with this loft access here, but we're going to frame up our dormer walls. This is something that we kind of have to get creative with. We're essentially making couple triangles. We're going to stud it out similar to our gable walls. So we just cut a test piece, quick little test piece. Our 612, 26.5-ish degrees. This will be the top plate coming down here to meet this, and then we'll need a bottom plate coming down here to meet the bottom of that wall. And that'll be a 45 degree. Each and every stud is gonna have an angle at the top that matches the 612 and an angle at the bottom that matches the 1212. Yep, just something like that.
Bonk.
That looks good to me.
It looks good to me.
Never built a house before. Inside of the rafter?
Inside the rafter.
guys. So we were just thinking, how in tarnation are we gonna figure out how to do a 16-ounce center layout? So easy one for me to think about is, so this is a 16-inch stud here and here. And I know that this stud is gonna be 16 inches longer. But if you think a little further, you've got a triangle here. And crack in some basic math. 16 here, 16 here, gets you Pythagorean theorem. Square root of 512 is 22.62. So that means that if our stud is right here, at 0, then our next one will be 22 and 5/8 away.
The moment of truth. So we'll see if this works.
It ain't so, Squidward, we did it!
We did it!
We saved Bikini Bottom!
Disclaimer, we messed up the math and then we fixed the math. So hang on as we walk you through our process.
We just made an oopsie. That 16 over 16 up thing works absolutely fantastic if you're talking about your reference as a flat ceiling. We are going 16 over, which takes 16 off of the length because of the 45-degree angle and the 12/12 pitch. However, because our 6/12 is increasingly going up and higher, we are going to add 8 inches. The math should come out to 8 inches less per next stud.
So that last measurement was 37 3/4. So now our next measurement is gonna be 29 3/4. We're gonna measure that out. We're gonna cut it and hopefully that works.
Look cool. Bong. That's a guess. Yeah, that works.
Camp Rock!
That's good. Check up top. You just saw us install studs on those dormer sidewalls. Our next step is to sheathe them. Once we get them sheathed, we'll hit them with some waterproofing measurements. We've got a good idea for that. Stay tuned for that. For right now, we're just gonna cut some plywood, call it a day. It's time to close up the last wall. We just need to know at the end of that 48, we'll have to cut our 6/12 angle in to the rest of that board.
So I got a chuckle out of this, and I wonder if you guys will too. I want to show you the angle and the math that we did and like our thought process. And it turned out to be as simple as, hey, that offcut gave us an obtuse angle on a 4x8 piece of plywood. Let's see if that works. And it did.
This will be our bottom, which we have a nice level reference for. This will be the corner, right? And then this will be our roof pitch here. Because we know that the roof pitch is, again, 6/12. Every 12 inches you come over, you go up 6. So we came over 2 feet, we come up a foot, and this one is our 4 feet mark where we just cut out our offcut, and that comes up 2 feet. So 4 feet over, 2 feet up. We'll chalk this line as far as it goes, connecting the dots, and that should be great. Okay. That should be our piece. All right, last piece. So we are on our last sheet of roof metal on the 12/12 pitch. We've made ourselves a dormer with the 6/12 pitched extra loft headspace where a vertical and a horizontal surface meet, and people seem to have a lot of trouble. We're going to take some extra precautions before we go ahead and start this up. And I don't think this is the most perfect way to do it, but it's kind of what my brain can come up with. So we've got our underlayment here. That was put down first. We put our plywood here for wall sheathing. Then I went up and flashing taped the corner. I'm now going to take some ice and water shield and run it up following this side here and just give us a little bit more protection on this vertical surface. And then we'll put our roofing metal sheet down. And then I've got end wall flashing that will cover this onto the roofing metal sheet. And then we'll put on our piece of siding here. So yeah, this will protect the dormer wall a little bit better. And ice and water shield is pretty much the best stuff you can get for the underneath part of the roof. Not a huge fan of the vertical laps here between the original ice and water shield and then this stuff. But I think it'll be okay. Not too sure. We'll see. But this is better than nothing. All right, so we've got one piece of metal left on this 12/12 side here. We'll cut this piece of metal real quick, tag it up,
knock it out.
Well, we did our finishing touches on the roof, and now we're officially dried in. Next week, we are tackling the interior. Let's get this tiny cabin ready by winter.
All done.
Thanks for watching.